Hello everyone, I'm Genevieve Scholl and I'm the self-published author of 10 books, with the 11th coming out in January. Today we're talking about bookish opinions. Some of them are mine, some of them are yours, all of them are unpopular. The Harry Potter movies were better than the books. This is an unpopular opinion for many reasons. First being, it's apparently blasphemy to think that the movies are better than books in any case. Second being, everybody has a problem with the Harry Potter movies because they leave things out that were in the books. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but for me, it's not what I pay attention to. I don't even remember the things that were in the books that are not in the movies. The other reason this is one of my opinions is because I feel that the movies are easier to watch than the books are to read, and that's partially a personal opinion, only because, as I have said in previous videos, I do not read fantasy books very well, and so I actually have this problem with Lord of the Rings as well. I prefer the movies over the books. Obviously that's not the case for everybody, but if it's the case for you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I'd love to hear why you think the movies are better than the books. And even if you don't think the movies are better than the books, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well. Also, are there any movies that are better than the books in your opinion? It's okay to bend spines or dog ear pages. A lot of you are probably calling me a book murderer right about now, and that's okay. But for me, dog-earing pages or bending spines just tells me that the reader loved the book. If there's absolutely no signs of the book being read, I'm going to assume you didn't love it. Cliffhangers are amazing. Lots of readers don't like cliffhangers. That's understandable, especially since sometimes cliffhangers cannot be written well. But if they are written correctly and are done in a way that leave a cliffhanger enough for you to want to read the next book, but not to make you unsatisfied with the first book, they're great. Plot isn't everything. You can have an amazing plot, the best plot out there in the entire book world, but if it's not written well and you don't have in-depth characters and conflict, your book is not going to be good. Every romance does not need to have the misunderstanding plot point. If you read romance, you know what I'm talking about, especially if you watch Hallmark movies. Every single one seems to have that spot in about the midway point where one of the main characters overhears something or reads something or sees something that they misunderstand and they walk away from the romance. That does not need to happen in every romance book or movie or TV show. Just stop. Heroines can kick ass too. It seems like every time that there is somebody in a book or a movie that is kicking ass, and by that I mean saving the world basically, it's always the hero. It's always the male. There are times when this isn't the case. Most notably is the last Avengers movie. Definitely females kicking ass. But we need more. Let's get some more kick-ass females in those books of yours. Some more powerful, highly skilled women that can do things without the help of a man. To go along with that whole kick-ass female opinion, not every female in a book has to be a damsel in distress. They don't need a prince to come rescue them. Some females can actually rescue themselves. And the last one of my opinions is you most definitely should judge a book by its cover. You just shouldn't only judge it by its cover. So you should definitely say, wow, this cover is alluring, maybe I'll be interested in it, so let me read the blurb on the back. Definitely do that. Or you could pick up a book and say, well, this cover is not very appealing. I'm not sure how well it's going to be. But still read the blurb on the back. Don't just judge a book by its cover. You can judge it by the cover, but don't make that the only thing that you use to decide if you want to read it or not. I asked on Instagram and on here whether you guys had some unpopular opinions of your own. And I had one person comment too. Unpopular opinions, so we're going to get to those now. The first is, she didn't like 50 Shades of Grey. I'm with her on this. I didn't like it either. I barely got past the first couple of chapters before I threw it in the trash. It was a paperback book. I spent the money on it, and I still threw it in the trash because I didn't want to subject anybody else to that horrible, horrible book. How it ever got made into a movie, I'll never know. Probably because so many people read the book. So they thought, money. Adding to that on my side of things, I also didn't like the Twilight books. I love the movies aside from the first one because, hey, no wolves. But anyway, I love the movies, but hated the books. Would never ever go past the first book. And honestly, if the first portion of the books and the movies was completely gone, I still wouldn't care. The best part of the Twilight books and movies are the wolves. Give me a hot, sweaty Native American werewolf over a vampire any day. And the other comment she left was that authors do not have to be on every single social media platform. I'm not sure why this is an unpopular opinion because I completely agree with her. Yes, the more platforms you are on, the more exposure you may get. But it doesn't mean that you have to be on every single one to get exposure. You don't need to be on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and the list goes on and on. You don't have to be on all of them. I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And soon I'll have a podcast. But I'm not on Twitter. Why would I be on Twitter? I don't have anything to tweet about that I can't say on Facebook or on YouTube. And hey, at least on Facebook, YouTube, and other places, you're not limited to 140 characters or whatever the hell it is. See, I'm not even on it to know that. And every tiny little bit of drama that has ever come out of the world, in my opinion, when it comes to social media, has been on Twitter. So why the heck would I join? So those were 10 unpopular bookish opinions, and if you have any others to add to the list, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, because let's face it, we're not all robots, we're not all carbon copies of each other, so we all have our own opinions, and we should be able to express them. So in my comments on my YouTube videos, this is where you can express your opinions. I will say, please be mindful and do not insult each other, do not cause a war. Feel free to debate, but don't argue. There is a difference. That's it for me this week. I'm going to get off of here and work on the first introductory episode of my podcast, coming soon. See you guys next week. Bye.